Any other counselor communications? Moving on to item 9, Town Manager Report and Communications.
So there's a couple of pieces of business that I'd like to go over first. One is there are a lot of people in the community that received a communication on Friday or over the weekend from Comstar, which is the billing agent for the Enfield EMS, reporting that there may have been a security breach with people's personal data. So they went back almost 10 years for anybody that has used our ambulance service. Those notices included going to people who were deceased, to probate agents, to everybody. So at this point, there is no indication that Enfield data was actually breached, but this is best practice that they notice everybody. And within that letter that everybody received, you have the opportunity to sign up for credit rating monitoring as well as identity theft monitoring for free on behalf of Comstar. So for anyone who may be concerned about this, please take advantage of those services because they're very good to have. It doesn't cost anything to sign up, and it'll just be an added peace of mind for those who might be a little discomforted by that letter. The second thing is a lot of our focus and thoughts have been with the community in Texas after that devastating school shooting. And I wanted to reassure our viewing audience, the public, and especially the town council that we have behind the scenes been having very diligent conversations between the office of the school superintendent, our office, as well as the police department about everything that happens here in Enfield. I'm sure all of you can understand that a lot of the process and procedures that have been put in place are not anything that anybody wants to talk about in public in order to tip our hand as to the security measures that are already in place. But speaking of the work that has been done after Sandy Hook, Enfield was one of the leaders in a lot of the work that surrounded physical plant upgrades, hardening targets, and doing a lot to really have those hard conversations with staff and teachers and parents and families, and that continues. So over the course of the last 10 to 14 days, a lot of discrete yet very robust work has been done within the schools, and we do have scheduled for this week a joint committee with the Board of Education on security issues. So some of those concerns, issues, and how we move forward will be discussed at that meeting as well. In terms of the pandemic, at the 2-year mark of the resolution or the act that was done by my predecessor, I did call it back. So we are now officially out of emergency orders, and I am just going to make sure that tomorrow, I need to double check because I don't see it in my emails that I just looked quickly, that we are officially filed with the Department of Emergency Management, because once you pull back, which is the role of the chief executive, I made that decision on the anniversary of which it was signed, and I believed at that point with the infection rates that we were probably going to be okay. As you can see, in the last 6 to 8 weeks, we've had some fluctuation as well. We are now in kind of an outdoors type environment, so some of this has been muted. I do encourage everyone to take advantage of what the town is doing at the senior center. Boosters are being offered through the month of June, and we really have to do all we can to bolster immunity, but also awareness that this is probably going to be with us for a while. And the more that we can do to protect our citizenry by offering boosters, vaccines, first or second, and just having a knowledge of the causation issues and how we can go about continuing to move forward with our lives and our community activities to the best of our ability amongst this is important. And fourth, in terms of the Board of Assessment Appeals, there are a lot of moving pieces with this topic. As all of you know, we have a new assessor who assumed his duties last June. That was approximately weeks before the revaluation process launched. It is also the year of quadrennial reports, which were due in November. That only happens, as by the name, every 4 years. So every 20 years, the reval and the quadrennial coincides, which makes an additional amount of work for the assessors and tax collector's office. Coming into Enfield at the end of December, I was immediately made aware of some of the issues with the new technology, with some of the differences of how this was being done, as well as the revaluation shifts. A revaluation shift, as we saw in Enfield, with residential taking the majority of it and commercial seeing a very low increase, really shifted the tax burden from one taxpaying entity to the other. So there were already undercurrents that this was going to be a very difficult revaluation to manage. Then we had the nonprofit scenarios, we had the 490 issues, and frankly, the assessors and tax collector's office is understaffed for the amount of work that they do in comparison with other towns and what has to get done in that period of time, many of which are statutory deadlines. We were on extension for the grand list, we're on extension for revaluation, and we were just fined last week due to the fact that some of the work had not been done by the BAA in a timely fashion and everything got pushed into May. So we owe the state of Connecticut $200 due to the fact that all of this has been very difficult. That being said, we've been monitoring the process. I have tried to, based on hearing the concerns tonight, I have pulled up some of the emails and reports that I have, and just a quick snapshot. And I do think that it would probably be good for all of you to see the full report. And I'm going to get back to that because that is linked to the minutes. But originally, based on the most recent worksheet that I have, so I am going to add that as a disclaimer, 77 properties were removed from PA 490. Many of them were returned. 13 were returned as strictly 490 status. 10 were noted as open space. 14 had no applications on file in the assessor's office. 4 of them, the owner agreed that they didn't belong. 11 did not have an updated application or a forester's report after a transfer of property. 25 were changed because of a change of use. Some of those had a commercial business on the property. 1 encroached on a neighbor's property. And 1 was an owner lost a portion due to that, and they were aware of the situation. So out of that, there were 64 accounts that were left out of the original 243 appeals. Of those, 28 were either open space, no application, or the owner agreed with the change. I then went to my spreadsheet that was supplied to me by the office, and I looked at the comments for the report reads, there's before review, then there was the PA 490 acres after the second review, and then there was the class after a second review. Here are some of the comments following the reviews. 1 parcel was removed, residential house, no farming, change of use. Another one, no application, not hayed or tilled, commercial land, does not qualify without an application, no application made. Another one, application was for 21.5 acres. There was a wooded parcel claimed on last update. There is no farming. Wooded lot, no application. Wooded parcel, no farming. Another one, change of use, part of yard now being used for landscaping business. Another one, open space classification, no new application with the land sale that occurred in 1995, nothing in record. Another one, no updated forester's report or application after transfer, no phone call returned from owner. Another one, apartment building, change of use, no farming, no new application with sale. Change of use, personal horse, no other animals. Talked with owner, no longer raises sheep. Talked with owner, agrees with removal. No application. No qualifying application with 2015 sale or property, acreage change. No application after land sale. Would not qualify with application, personal horse. Application for pasture. Has completed application, has not filed since 2012 sale. Owner states personal horse. Used to have business but no longer does. Change of use. Another one. Was planting Christmas trees, gave up on idea. Now a landscape company is run out of back building. No longer farming, residential house. Open space classification, Hazardville water pump house. No application after 2014 sale. Should be entirely removed but left partially in. Wooded lot, has application. Vacant residential parcel, asked for income info, none given. No orchard on land, asked for income, none provided. No tillable, no farm, asked for income, none provided. Not a commercial farm any longer, change of use. So just as an example, these are some of the processes that were gone through. So while I respect the citizenry and their concern and potential discomfort on this process, it was a difficult one all the way across. There's always multiple sides to a story, as Councillor Ludwig referenced. This one doesn't have multiple sides. It has dozens of sides. And whereas it affects directly people's livelihoods and their property, we take it with the utmost seriousness. However, the record speaks differently. There is a lot of work that needs to be done to bring these files back into compliance. And I believe, because I sat in on a lot of those meetings, that those conversations took place. A lot of work was done. A lot of people understood. A lot of people didn't understand because of the complexity of this law, the changes that have been made, the family dynamics that are involved with multiple people owning parcels. And I will say that we worked with anybody who made an appointment, who came in and had conversations. They may not have approved of all of the final recommendations, and they went to the BAA. That is their right. The BAA is its own entity as defined by state law, which we recognize. However, when you read the BAA handbook, not only does it discuss the independence of the entity, it also stresses the fact that it is extremely important that they have a working relationship with the assessor. That did not occur. So all of these different pieces have now amalgamated into either a special meeting draft of minutes dated May 28th or the May 28th report on decisions, which was a 62-page document. We have competing documents that were posted. Some of it was handwritten, some of it was penciled in, some of it is hard to discern and understand. I made the decision to pull both from the website so that we could gain clarity as to what document supersedes each, which one has the most reference, and which one, frankly, is correct. The minutes continue to be contained and are available for public inspection in the town clerk's office. That is according to FOI law. It will, when worked out, be put back on the website for public. But right now, I'm not sure what we're disseminating to the public, and until we can get a handle on the report and actually put it in a shape and form that is legible and readable, we're not going to have it on the website, because as you can see tonight, it's only spawning more conspiracy issues, concerns, and belief that there was issues that were dealt with within this process that might not have been appropriate. So again, it's a small microcosm explanation because I wasn't really prepared to deal with it tonight, but that's kind of where we stand with this. And I will also note that we've noticed early on that there's been a couple of areas in which the BAA extended its authority that they may not have had authority to do so. Section 12-111 is one of them, and there is another involving the open space ordinance, which I really believe Enfield should adopt, but we have not adopted to date. So those things are all operating in the background. It's unfortunate that we have these types of conversations in public forum concerning public servants. I think a lot of what has happened here is growing pains in terms of moving from one assessor and that style to another one. Customer service is always important, and I believe that that office has made great strides in the last 6 months as to what I believe the standard should be for customer service. But it's a two-way street, and I don't think, nor will I tolerate anybody casting aspersions on any town employee for any reason in a public forum without having that employee here or their advocates to speak for that themselves, because again, there's always multiple sides to a story, and I don't think that tonight it was accurately represented on both sides. So we can get you a report, and we will try to codify it in such a way that it's easy to follow. I know that many of you have been following this issue, so it should be pretty easy. The good news is we don't have to do this for another 5 years. And between now and then, we'll have a lot of opportunities to ensure that what happened and this type of growing pains in terms of new technology, opportunities to ensure that everything is put on the grand list is done in a way that everybody's comfortable with. And please understand, There are people that are paying their fair share of taxes. Those people feel that everybody else should be paying their fair share of taxes. What that fair share of taxes is based first here on taxation, but also on the opportunity to appeal, which is the democratic way. So we're going to make sure that everything is on that grand list in order to have the most fair foundation for all Enfield residents and businesses, and from there we can have a conversation about methodology.
Thank you. Anything else under town manager's report? Any questions for the town manager?
Yeah, I agree, but that conversation has to happen. I can't wait a year from now. I'm saying I agree with you. We have to be able to let people tell their story, both sides. I agree, and that's why it needs to be some sort of special meeting. Again, that's the problem. If it festers, more conspiracy theories are going to come out. It has to be addressed, and we have to be adults and professional. I agree with you, but you can't wait 6 months from now. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I know everyone's busy. I'm just saying this is something.
Councilor Ludwig, the report was filed 8 days ago.
I'm not even talking about the minute. The minutes to me are sort of, again, it's like it's the distraction. It's the anger, the underlying anger between the public and the assessor. We need to figure that out. Minutes, again, I'm not whatever. It's that's the issue for me, because you can't have, again, as a governing body, a lot of your folks all upset, and then that's got to be addressed. The minutes, again, I'll let the folks who get paid to do that handle it. That's the issue to me, and we have to address it. That's just my opinion. And the other thing, and I apologize, because I know if you already did this, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you pulled out of the emergency and you sent us something and I missed it, full disclosure, I probably did. But if you didn't, that needs to be posted on if I don't do Facebook, but I mean, that's a big deal. And these are big deals. I mean, we're moving forward, and if you made a decision, congratulate you to do it, because it's right. In my opinion, it's the right decision, and it's what we should be doing. But we need to let people know. I mean, look, we're moving forward, and that's a good decision, and I appreciate you making it. And I think that needs to be made public. So it's in my opinion. I'm sorry, maybe folks disagree with me, but that's a good decision that we are now finally moving forward. And I know it's just a declaration or whatever, but it's an important one. And remind people, again, as a Constitution state, it's there to limit government's authority. That's what people got to remember what the Constitution means. And that's why I appreciate you doing that. And if you already sent me, and I apologize, I missed the email, which I could have. But if you haven't, please post that. That's, in my opinion, that's important. And I appreciate you making that decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the town manager's office?